Welcome everybody to another episode of Head to Head Sports. But first, we got to do it.
Come on, Cowboys. What y'all got to say? Oh, we about to go to the...
Shut up! Before I bust a cap up in your ass.
I thought y'all was beating the world.
Shut up!
Maybe next...
Say another motherfucking word and this shit is over.
But we the most hated franchise and everybody...
Shut the fuck... Shut... Did I say... No! Oh, shit! Say it again. Say something else. Oh! Say something else. Say something else.
I forgot to wear my cowboy hat.
How about him?
How about him?
Oh my goodness, how about him? So I got my white one today, but don't worry, I also got my black one too. I'm a clown the Cowboys, but I'm gonna also give some props to my other team too.
That's right. It's up to you, New York, New York.
Absolutely. Welcome everybody to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
Our Yankees are up 2-0, so I'm doing quite fine, sir.
That's the truth. Got both of the home games. I'm here for it. So go Yanks, go Yanks. Mr. Judge finally hit a homer last night. So
yes, he got off that cold streak. Thank God.
Hopefully that won't be the last one.
I'm telling you, we need him.
I need him to become Mr. October for real.
Yes.
But yeah, everybody, thanks for tuning in for another week. We are live and direct on Instagram, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, LinkedIn, Facebook Live, as well as YouTube. Please help us with our YouTube drive as we are pushing for 10,000 followers on our YouTube channel. We want to grow that so that the algorithm does a lot of the work as far as expanding our reach even far past the 10,000 subs. Let me speak of that into existence too. But 10,000 subs that we are looking for. So if you go to YouTube, please look under Empower TV and help us by sharing, and subscribing. If you're watching on any of our other platforms, we do also ask that you share as well, just to let people know what you're watching, and give us a thumbs up if you like what it is. But hey, we do this show with you guys, so all of your comments, everything else is more than welcome. We try to address and read your comments live on the air and make sure that we're responding in real time. That also lets you know that a lot of times we may know a couple of things that we're going to talk about, but none of this is scripted at all. It is free-flowing talk about what we've observed, what we've seen, bringing our knowledge about the game to you guys to kind of give a little bit more insight, but vice versa. There may be things that you've heard about that I didn't hear about that happened right before the show, and we definitely do the show with you. Anthony has already jumped in and says, can we start on this staged Jets trade for Adams? Ryan says, please let me know how y'all feel about the potential Fields benching. Definitely want to get to that, because hearing a lot of stories coming out of Philadelphia about Russell Wilson taking snaps with the first team, kind of laying the way for that. And Ty Harris, what's going on, my man Ty? It says at some point we'll feel sorry for them boys, but not yet. Those of us who had to live through the 90s and America's team crap still have healing to do.
I will never feel sorry for Dallas.
Hell no. It's so funny. There's so many storylines out there. But Anthony, because you brought up the Devontae Adams trade first, I will go there and start the show off with that, and then we can jump into the Justin Fields.
Ryan, what's happening?
Yeah, what's going on, Ryan? So yeah, but thanks guys for joining. Make sure that you're out there liking, sharing, and subscribing. Definitely want to expand our reach. Our viewership grows week after week after week, and we only have you guys to thank for that. So we definitely appreciate that. As far as the Devontae Adams, Anthony, in the comments, let me know why you say that it's a stage trade. Not sure what you mean by that, other than the fact that hey, we already knew that Devontae Adams wasn't now. The one thing that I'll say was staged, I think, was his injury that he kept saying to the Raiders about his hamstring because all of a sudden once he got traded, oh, Hammy feels great, ready to go, ready to play this weekend.
He better not be either, because I'm gonna be pissed off if he gets on the field with my Steelers, but he's been off the field talking about some hamstring. Yeah, I'm gonna be pissed off.
It's been confirmed he's playing.
Wow, are you serious? Are you serious, man?
Dead ass. Oh yeah. It's confirmed he's playing.
You mean to tell me, like you were saying, this dude has had this hamstring injury this whole time, and he can't practice and he can't play.
Right.
Now he's gonna get on the field and play the very first game with the Jets on short notice.
On the practice field today with his number 17 jersey on.
Get the F up out of here, man. Get the F up out of here.
Them hammies feel different in New York, New Jersey than they do when you're out in Vegas.
Get the entire F up out of here. Now I see why Anthony's talking about stage. This is ridiculous.
Right, because you got Devontae Adams coming to face your Steelers, and now your Steelers are up in the air about who the quarterback's going to be. There's a lot of tea leaves out there regarding, is it going to be Fields? Is it going to be Wilson? Because, and then the controversy back and forth, has Fields done enough to keep the job? Has he done anything to lose the job? And I've watched some of the analysts go back and forth talking about, well, he hasn't turned the ball over, which he's been prone to do, but maybe some of the reasons that he hadn't turned the ball over is because he's not throwing down the field to some passes that he's not really sure about throwing to. So a lot of times he almost talks himself out of throwing the ball to certain spots that he needs to be able to get to receivers like Freiermuth and Pickens and folks like that, because he's trying to go for the sure bet, even if it's not the first read, the best read. He's trying not to put the ball in harm's way because maybe he is feeling a little apprehensive about being yanked if he makes too many mistakes. So there's a little bit of that going on too. But as far as Devontae Adams going to the Jets, yes, the Jets are just coming off a week where they had gotten rid of their coach Robert Saleh. Now you see them play then the next game against the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football, and really it just became a game of whose kicker was going to kick them out of this game. Because nobody wanted to make a field goal. Nobody wanted to make an extra point. The Bills offense left a lot of points on the field. It took Aaron Rodgers throwing one of his legendary Hail Mary passes in the end zone for the score to even be as close as it was. So what did we see new with this Jets offense to give us any idea that they are still within arm's reach of winning their division? Well, to me, Rand, they did what they were supposed to do a little bit more, which was run the ball, which was put the ball in Breece Hall's hands and say, we are going to be a dual threat team and play complementary football. We can't just air the ball out. We can't have Aaron Rodgers like he was in London throwing the ball 50-something times. We got to be able to commit to running the ball, scheming our offensive line better, and that kind of thing. Anthony says, I like how Rodgers blamed Mike Williams for the interception, saying he went the wrong way. Same coach, same bullshit. Yeah, well, Aaron Rodgers is always going to have a reason why he had a pick. And it's normally not because of what he read. It's because of the receiver didn't. And that can be true sometimes. It happens. I've seen Dak and CD misread each other on certain plays. I thought he was going in, so I threw it more flat. He went out, and he was expecting an over the shoulder fade. Those kind of things. Those do happen. from time to time too. So, but we'll get into that. Rand, overall though, how you feel about Devontae, number one, going to the Jets, and number two, being able to start right away because they said that he understood he knows enough about the quarterback. They have history, and the system that they run is very familiar to one that he's run before.
So I'm, on the same page with Anthony when Anthony was talking about pretty much, this thing is a sham. First of all, you got him with the fake hamstring injury, and we all know now that it's looking like it was a pretty fake injury.
Mhm.
But then Aaron Rodgers is just such a trip, man. He stands on the podium. He says, "Oh, the front office moves, they got nothing to do with me. Don't look at me. I'm innocent here. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. I've got nothing to do with it." And the whole time, this dude is pulling the strings behind the scene. How many ex-Packers or ex-players that he's had a relationship with are now in New York?
Yeah.
And you mean to tell me he's got no dealings, no string pullings with none of
Even
it?
with the offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, who, as a result of Robert Saleh getting fired and them promoting Ehrlich or whatever his name is, he then demoted Nathaniel Hackett. A lot of people will say, well, Hackett should have never been brought over anyway because of
Thank
the
you.
bad job that he did in Denver.
Thank you.
It's like he
And
got
we're just
fired from
supposed to
Denver, and
believe-
then you gave him a promotion.
we're just supposed to believe that all of these things are just just a coincidence. That Aaron has nothing to do with it at all. He's just innocent in this, and he doesn't know why the media is saying these things. Meanwhile, he goes on his podcast and he's telling a different story and throwing wide receivers like Mike Williams up under the bus. How many quarterbacks, even if the route was run wrong by the wide receiver, will just go publicly and blast him like that?
Right.
He just ran the wrong route. It's supposed to be a comeback, and he running a straight or vice versa, whatever he said. And then the very next day after the game, the wide receiver is on the trade block, but he has nothing to do with it. Make it make sense. Mike Williams is now publicly on the trade block, as stated by the New York Jets front office. But Aaron is innocent of that. He has nothing to do with it. One day after he blasts him live for running the wrong route. Get that.
And now with Devontae Adams being there, he definitely is probably seen his last days because they just don't have probably a position for him. Now,
no, they don't.
The Jets
Adams will be playing his spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And Anthony says, and this was funny because this did happen today. He says, then the same day Rodgers was on live with Pat McAfee. And guess who's there? Adams.
Adams. Yeah, Adams makes an appearance in the background, all sly and whatnot. But don't blame me. I got nothing to do with it. I'm just the quarterback. I'm just the quarterback.
Jets are going all in. He's talking so good about Adams, talking about he done found the fountain of youth because he looks as good as he did when he first came out and all this stuff. And
Aaron's just such a trip, you man. I don't know why the media's talking about me. I don't know why y'all keep bringing me up, but he does a weekly podcast. What quarterback is out there doing weekly podcasts? Man, get that.
Yeah, exactly.
This dude, man.
What did I know did that was Tom Brady doing Let's Go when his last 2 years in Tampa. But to your point, you're right. Most quarterbacks are focusing on the team and everything else. And to me, the definition of a leader is, hey, maybe the receiver did go the wrong way, but you know what? We gonna keep that inside business.
Yes.
We gonna take our family business and air our dirty laundry out for everybody to see. And that's why
most quarterbacks just say, "Hey, it was just a miscommunication between me and the wide receiver." You're not gonna throw him under the bus like that. It's like, come on.
No. Where he just absolves himself of any of the blame, it's like, bro, you left a couple of throws out there too. Whether it was the interception at the end. Well, y'all left a lot of plays out there where it shouldn't even come down to that. But he never focuses on that. He focuses on that dude that didn't catch one of his balls because he's Aaron effing Rodgers. So I understand the animosity well. But it's going to be interesting. Devontae is going to have to get out of speed. on a lot of their play calling. But at the end of the day, because of Devontae's ability, getting open, reading the defenses like Aaron Rodgers reads defenses, he's going to have some level of success in this game. I guarantee you he will catch at least 7 to 8 balls for over 100 yards in this game.
No doubt, man. I mean, the Steelers, bless their hearts, they got their hands full this coming Sunday night. They do. You got two basically number one wide receivers on the field at the same time. And that is going to be a lot for our young secondary to handle.
They're gonna get
thank God it's a home game. Maybe that'll make a difference. Maybe Watt gets around that left or right tackle a couple of times. Maybe that makes a difference. Maybe the Steelers could stop the run game, keep it closer. And like you were saying, we got a new quarterback situation potentially. We could get into that because our young Ryan had a question about that one.
Oh, yeah. So Ryan asked about, let me know how you feel about the potential Fields benching. So even if Russell Wilson starts, while technically it would be, yes, you're benching Justin Fields, to me, it's not as much benching Justin Fields as it's really trying to kick the tires and see what you have in Russell Wilson. When they initially brought Russell Wilson over, before they even knew they had a chance of getting Justin Fields, Russell was already penciled in to be the starter. Now, then after the fact, once it was clear that Chicago was moving on from Justin because they, bless their hearts, they didn't want Caleb Williams to feel some kind of way about having a previous top draft pick sitting there looking over his shoulder, and they cleared the field for him. Then they decided that Justin was expendable, and we're going to go ahead and move forward from Justin. And then that's when the Steelers, he basically landed in their lap as a very good option to Russell Wilson. If either A, he gets off to a bad start, or B, he gets injured, Justin Fields would be a great insurance policy. The goal from the beginning was to have Russell Wilson start. But then once Russell tweaked his calf and those issues arose in the preseason and it rolled into the offseason, it just made it easier to start with Justin. And normally they say quarterbacks don't lose their job to injuries, things like that. But we've seen that happen before. Well, Justin isn't injured, but and I mean, all he's done is he's given the Steelers a 4-2 record, or he's been a part of their 4-2 record. Now, a lot of that is based on the defense and Justin not doing he didn't do anything to hand the game over. Is he delivering enough explosive plays where Pittsburgh feels like, hey, we need to at least kick the tires at Russell Wilson and see what we got? Because we know we're going to lose the legs that Justin has, but will Russell be more deliberative in going through his reads and driving the ball down the field so that we get touchdowns instead of settling for field goals?
Yeah, Pittsburgh just last week just put up 32, and Justin had a great deal to do with that, and I think he ran 2 through 1 or something to that nature. But Justin to this year has got
he didn't throw any touchdowns, but he ran for 2.
Yep. So he has 10 total touchdowns this year to 1 interception, which is great. That's a great ratio.
It is.
The explosive plays have not really been there. But then you got to look at the fact that Pittsburgh only has one basically wide receiver on the field right now, and Mr. George Pickens. They're number 2. They don't have a number 2. They got number 3s standing in to be number 2s. So that's going to be a big part of the equation as well. I'm kind of in agreement with you, Brian, in the fact that I think they just want to kick the tires to see what they even have with Russell Wilson. They did promise him a number 1 starting position when he got there. He did get hurt in training camp, which was not his own fault. Fields did come in, and Fields has played very well. I don't think Fields has done anything to lose his job as the starter. I think Pittsburgh just wants to kick the tires on Russ to see what they have in case they do need to go back to him. But in my eyes, it is Justin Fields, the number one. You're looking at a quarterback from the progression of being thrown in there on the first game, week 1, to now you go into week 7. He has gotten better every single week that he has played. Again, 10 total touchdowns, only 1 interception. That is very efficient ball. He's a lot younger than Russ. If it was up to me, I wouldn't be making this move at all in order maybe just to see again what they have with Wilson going forward. But my starter would remain Fields if it was up to me.
I agree. But I think there's one date that is starting to come up on the calendar that is influencing some of this as well, and that is November the 5th. Now, for those of you that don't know, November the 5th is a very special day. It has nothing to do with sports. Go out and vote, or go out now and start voting early. But it is election day on November the 5th.
Man, you just brought up a good point. You just brought up a very good point. I see where you're going already.
So
if he goes out there and shows out,
there you go.
Trade value goes through the roof. And then teams like Miami are going to be begging and salivating.
Boy, he took it straight out my mouth, right?
Yep. Again, folks, we don't rehearse this stuff.
We don't rehearse it. Right. But he was all over it. I mean, you basically said exactly what I was going to say. November the 5th is the NFL trade deadline. So if they do get Russell Wilson to put on some good tape, now it makes both of the values of the players go up. And now you have potential trade equity that you can get a little bit more for one of your quarterbacks, whichever one you decide you want to rock with. If somebody then starts calling you, hey, what you gonna do with such and such? You gonna let him sit on the bench as a strong number 2, or you gonna let Kyle Allen be your number 2 and let one of the other ones go if somebody offers you a 3rd, 4th round pick, something like that for that commodity. So if he goes out there and balls, only thing he can do is enhance your trade value. So you're absolutely right. That's where I was going with November the 5th. And you only have so many games between now and November the 5th to be able to showcase that.
Yeah. That's an excellent point. I didn't even think of that angle, but you're absolutely right. And to me, it shouldn't be even a decision on who they trade. I mean, you got to trade the older guy and keep the younger guy.
Oh, no doubt, because he has a lot more further ahead of him. And a team like Miami may only want that older guy as a stopgap, because if Tua is going to contemplate coming back and it's a healthy decision for him to do, you really only need that guy as a poor man's Joe Flacco coming in there writing for a short amount of time. He's not supposed to be your long-term answer. Justin Fields is more of a long-term answer if you can write some of those things with him as far as driving the ball down the field and things like that. But he has a lot more upside to give you than what Russell Wilson can give you. Russell can give you a little bit more right now, where Justin can give you a little bit more for the long term. And Miami is one of those teams that would be looking more for a right now than necessarily a long term.
Yep.
Anthony says, in my eyes, if I'm starting and we playing good and you start Wilson out the blue, please trade me away. Well, but there's going to be things to say. Just because you're winning does cover a lot of flaws, and it really does. But just because you're winning doesn't mean that you've been setting the world on fire. I mean, let's be honest. Your team scored 32 points in this past game against the Raiders, but your quarterback, from a simply throwing standpoint, was 14 of 24 for 145 yards. They did a lot of this on the ground. Najee Harris ran for 100 yards. Justin Fields ran for nearly 60 yards. So they did a lot of their damage, ball control, opportunistic. When you look at the amount of field goals that the teams were able to kick, that factored into a lot of that scoring. Your field goal kickers scored more points than your offense did. You ain't going to be able to live like that. You're going to have to be able to have a quarterback that is not waiting for guys to be open to feel comfortable throwing to them. They're going to have to be on the same page where he knows where their route is going and he throws them open for two reasons. If you wait till a guy is open, most likely once he catches the ball, he's going to get tackled exactly where he catches the ball. If you throw a guy while he's in stride, there's an opportunity for him to get yards after the catch. So those 5-6 yard runs, catches turn into 15, 20 yards down the field. But if you wait for him to get open, most of the time, the defensive backs have had time to now recalibrate where they are and go directly for that player because they can see him open and they're running to the ball. So he doesn't have the opportunities. Ryan says, thank you, Brian. Mahomes has been winning off defense in games too, but we're not benching him. Not to compare them directly, but we can't keep acting like the guy with the 27th best offensive line in the league, Fields, is somehow being carried by the defense only.
That's correct. That is correct. And to my point as well, Fields is doing this with, again, one wide receiver out there. He doesn't have a number two.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a number two. So he's been doing that with a number one wide receiver, a bunch of number threes, and then a tight end that has been a little banged up.
Yep.
So imagine what he could do with a solid number two receiver out there.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh hasn't had it all year long.
And what I'm afraid about, Rand, last time I saw Russell Wilson having Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton,
He looked all too good.
He wasn't doing a whole lot in Denver with that. So
no.
You're only going to give him Pickens on one side and Freiermuth, and now you got a committee of Washington and some of those other guys on the other side. What's he supposed to do with that Justin Fields hadn't been able to do?
I don't see much.
And now without the benefit of having legs to be able to extend the play.
Exactly. Because we are not afraid of Russell Wilson rolling out and running for anything downfield.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm more afraid that if he does, he's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And Justin Fields will be right back in there sooner than later. So, I don't know. I don't see it myself where Russell is going to give you that much of an incremental increase. I understand what they're saying about Fields, not seeing the whole field and stuff like that, and maybe missing some potential explosive plays down the field, but he has kept the ball out of harm's way, and you're winning.
Yeah.
You can work on those things in practice. You're winning. He's not the reason that you lose.
Yeah, exactly. He has not been the reason they lost. I mean, they lost to the Colts in a game that he put up over 200 some yards passing and 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's not setting the world on fire. But again, he's not getting in his own way either.
Exactly. Yeah, he's not playing hero ball, trying to sit there and gunsling it, risk it, no biscuit, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. Anthony says, I really think as a business idea, let's start Wilson to put some tape so we can trade him. Yep, that's where we at. Ryan says Fields has been pressured on 81.2% of snaps after 3 seconds. Damn.
That is true too. The offensive line has been okay. I mean, it's been banged up as well. They got a new center that they just drafted, so he's kind of getting in there and getting his feet wet. They've had some bad exchanges with that one, so he's trying to figure that out. The Steelers have kind of played, tackle by committee, putting Jones in there sometimes at right tackle. They lost their right tackle that they drafted that was supposed to be the starter, so he's now out for the season. And they've had some injury at the right guard position as well, with Daniels being lost for the season. So they got just, a lot of inconsistency on the offensive line here. The offensive line has not played terrible, but again, the pressures are going to be there. And when those pressures have been there, you have had Fields with the ability to escape it. Yeah. Now, you ain't going to have no escapability with Russell Wilson.
And that means you're putting more pressure on your banged up offensive line to pass protect for him.
You better.
If you don't, he's going to be out real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as much as I'm not looking forward to it, if he does get the start, now I've not heard anything official as of yet. He's just been practicing with the first team, and it's got a lot of rumors out there.
Yeah.
I've not heard officially that yes, he's going to start this coming. Is it Sunday night or Monday night? I think it's Sunday night.
I think it is.
I haven't heard anything official with that, but if he does go out there and start, then yeah, that's going to be some interesting football to see how he goes up against that Jet defense.
That is Sunday Night Football, Jets and Steelers. Yep, that could go really bad very quickly.
It could.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Especially if Aaron is able to. The problem with the Steelers is like the problem that I say with the Cowboys. They are not a play from behind team.
No.
They are a team
No, sir.
that if you score, they score, you score, they score, and stay in the game that way, that's one thing. But once they start getting 7, 10, 13 points ahead of you, you already have issues running the ball. Now, Najee Harris did have 14 carries for 106 yards. Finally, he cracked over 100 yards. But this is not a team that has had a lot of success running the ball. Well, if you start to get enough of a lead on them, then that's just going to make the run game even more non-existent. Now you are having to put it more in Justin Fields' hands, and that does add a certain amount more pressure. If they play with a team and they go back and forth, that's going to be one thing. But if that other team ends up 2 touchdowns ahead, and now they start going for it on 4th and 2, 4th and 3 to try to keep the drive going and stuff like that, that could spell.
Yeah, Steeler ball for the last few seasons, I'd say since Big Ben has retired, maybe even since his final year, been to stay in the game to give themselves an opportunity to win in the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
If you're looking for the Steelers to come back from anything beyond 14 points, you are asking probably for a loss.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen. That's a lot of wishing. Clovers out there. There's a lot of wishing. And then Wes says, once again, Wilson doesn't add anything. Fields doesn't do. I agree, Randall. Keep Fields on the field. Wes, I agree with you too, because you're saying, yeah, I want to kick the tires. That's why I don't think it's necessarily Fields getting benched as much as they want to be able to have some good tape for Russell Wilson to say, okay, I think we can do something with this kid, but we got this dude just sitting here and nobody really knows what he is. Last time he was seen in Denver, this is what it was, but there was a whole lot of stuff surrounding the Broncos not wanting to pay him that insurance money and all that other stuff. So they just prematurely sat him down and benched him and got rid of him. But we haven't seen enough of Russell Wilson to know what he could provide perhaps to another team. A lot of times, whether it's the preseason or going into the regular season, you may not be playing for the team that you're on as much as you're playing to be able to negotiate a trade or negotiate something where you can get paid more because they send you somewhere else. And let's see, Anthony says, now the other trade, Cooper to the Bills, that was perfect.
You ain't lying.
So so the Buffalo Bills could not just sit there and watch the Jets get all of the media attention about Devontae Adams going to the Jets. The Buffalo Bills had to say, you know what, even after we won, Jerry Jones, I hope you're watching this. After we won, we said we can still get better. And we see basically that the doo-doos are going nowhere fast. And the doo-doos also had converted all of Amari Cooper's $20 million salary into a signing bonus. So now that we trade him, we ain't got to pay him. So now they trade for Amari Cooper. Amari, from what I was listening to, drove from Cleveland to Buffalo and is in Buffalo now.
It's like, get me the hell up out of Cleveland. I'm not even going to wait for a flight.
Now I believe the car was already running. And Amari said, bam. and like, I'm out. Good riddance. Like he was in purgatory and somebody just gave him a new lease on life. So now Amari Cooper goes into a situation where he's gonna again be looked at as a number one with Josh Allen. And I think he will fit in perfectly with the way Josh plays football.
Yeah.
So I
It's a
will agree.
brand new
I agree with that assessment that was a perfect trade for what you needed. The Bills have recognized that again. This is one of those teams that we've talked about for the last 4 years or so about has their window finally shut, and because of what it looked like the Jets would be, what the Dolphins would be, we were like, yeah, Buffalo's window has shut, but somehow somebody is keeping a foot in that door and will not let it close completely, and they smell blood in the water, and they are going all in. They can see that the Chiefs are not an explosive juggernaut as they have been before. They see the AFC as winnable because they're also probably counting on Baltimore to do what Baltimore normally does, and that's stumble at the end. But if the Bills can catch that magic, that lightning at the right time, and make this move, then they can position themselves for the home stretch and get that 1 or 2 seed going into the playoff.
Yeah, if you remember when we were doing our preseason predictions back before the season started, I said that the Bills would take a step back this year, and it was because of their wide receiver position. They didn't have anything solidified other than Coleman and Shakir.
Yeah.
Well, now they got a weapon. They got a weapon now. So they've taken a major step forward.
And look, now they have the best complementary football. Not only did they have their reliable running back in James Cooks that was doing this thing, but then Cooks had a toe injury, and they bring in their 4th-round pick, and his name is Ray Davis. And if you didn't know who Ray Davis was before Monday night, Ray Davis ended up with 20 carries for 97 yards and introduced himself to the NFL. So I was like, damn, now they got Ray Davis and James Cooks. Now you got Amari Cooper and you got Josh Allen, who still is a threat by running the ball as well as throwing the ball. My God.
The Bills are loaded. All of a sudden, one move and they're loaded.
Yeah. Stephon,
Yep.
who? Oh, my God. Ty, I agree with you that he said there's plenty of tape on Russ. If Justin Fields is getting better every game, keeping him rolling and prep for the playoffs, Russ peaked 6 years ago. But I'm no Mike T. Yeah, I feel you. You know, we all have so much respect for Mike Tomlin that we find it sometimes hard to criticize any decisions that will be made by Mike Tomlin. And but you know, hey, he's human. And again, I think yes, even though we have tape on Russ, I think people don't want to see that last tape that he did in Denver. They want to say, okay, they brought him into Pittsburgh, and either he didn't fare any worse than Justin Fields, or he brought something to the table that Justin wasn't doing that may make him more desirable via trade. I think that has everything to do with the trade deadline and less to do as an indictment of Justin Fields. Now, the only thing I'll say about Justin Fields, though, is if he was balling out of his mind, they wouldn't touch it. But what they're saying basically is we don't feel like we have that much to lose right now by at least kicking the tires. If it all goes left, we'll go back with Justin and we'll say some bull crap like, you know, he wasn't feeling his best. We were just trying it out, you know, something like that to kind of put some spin on it. But when they bring Russ out, they're going to make it clear that, hey, we kind of felt like we owed it to him because we brought him in to be the starter. It's not so much that Justin did anything wrong, but we really wanted to see what we had with Russ. We have, and you know, Tomlin, we have confidence in whoever is going to be out there on Sunday. The standard is the standard. We're going to play Steelers football, and I'm not going to go into any hypotheticals with you people out here. I know that's what y'all want me to do. You can ask me the same question 13 times, and I'm going to keep telling you the same thing. Standard is standard. You know, that's all they're going to do.
Not bad, brother. Not bad.
I love that dude because he tells you absolutely nothing. He's a bastard at that. It's like everybody goes to Bill Belichick's school of interviewing and they learn how to tell you absolutely nothing. So when you do get those Dan Campbells that'll sit there and just tell you what they feeling and stuff like that, it's really refreshing because a lot of the other ones play it so close to the vest that you will come out dumber than when you went in because you'll be like, I know nothing. I felt like I knew more before I even asked them a question.
Now I got more questions.
Oh God! And Anthony says, "So Randall, question: what's up with Pittsburgh? Are they bad in trading? What's up with Pittsburgh? Are they bad in trading for a wide receiver?"
No, I don't think they're bad at trading for a wide receiver. They've been so unlucky at that position. And you got so many teams out there that just, I don't know what it is, just certain positions, they're just unlucky. And wide receiver with the Steelers is one of them.
Yeah.
You know, they made a very aggressive package to go get Devontae Adams. We probably would have had Adams, but he wants to play in New York with Aaron, so we can't control that. Then Brandon Ayuk, I went into that whole situation last week. He was basically a Steeler. He was on his way out of the building in San Francisco before a GM went and got him from downstairs, brought him upstairs to have a last-minute negotiation, and he signed the San Francisco deal rather than going to Pittsburgh to sign the Pittsburgh deal, even though he had verbally agreed to the Pittsburgh deal prior to. Even with, past wide receivers, Antonio Brown, superstar, takes a hit to the head, and all of a sudden he becomes the AB. He's not Antonio Brown anymore. Now he's AB. Just stuff like that just can't control. Deontay Johnson, becomes disgruntled. He wants to be this number one prima donna wide receiver in Pittsburgh. He can't get his way there, so he forces his way into Carolina. We just had bad luck in that position, and I don't think it's anything to do with us being bad at trading for or even drafting a wide receiver. We're able to get the talent. You just got the personalities that come along with it. Even George Pickens right now is causing an issue. He just got fined by the league for putting something profane over his nose tape. So it's just one of those positions where, the bravado comes with the talent.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's a good question, Anthony. Thank you for that. Yeah, it has been a thing to watch. That's why when you think about Steelers football, you always think about the run sets up the pass. It's always been that way where they are a running team, a ground and pound team. They are a team that is sometimes, I want to say sometimes their games are unwatchable. It's just because it's a field position game, it's a running game, it's a defensive game, and that does not a lot of time yield a lot of points. So when you do see the Steelers score 32 points, that is kind of almost outside of what Steeler football is. But it was just that they took the opportunities that the Las Vegas Raiders gave them in scoring that many points. They didn't need to score that many to win the game, but they basically kept the game in out of doubt as to who was going to win that game. 32-13 was the final score in that game. So the Raiders weren't putting up any fight at all, and the Steelers just kept finding success driving the ball down, even if it was to put themselves in field goal position. They just kept finding more offensive success than the Raiders were able to do. But yeah, definitely some good games this week. I would be remiss if I did not go into an ass whooping that happened in Arlington, Texas. I kind of called this early on in the season when I saw that the Cowboys could not stop the run ran, that once they started getting into their schedule and started playing teams that have really good running backs, it was going to be more of the same. The Cowboys have been down 20 points in every game that they've lost this season, and this one was no different. This was just, look, once a team decides that we're going to start running trick plays for offensive tackles to catch balls and stuff like that, they have no respect for your ass. They basically saying, we can do flea flickers on y'all. We can do all kinds of stuff because we know you can't stop it. By halftime, it was 27-6.
And it was over.
OVA. It was over already. Hell, I felt like it was over in the first quarter, and you could almost just see the white flag being raised. But Detroit wasn't trying to see no white flag, so they went ahead and put up another 10 points in the fourth quarter just to make sure that the Cowboys understood. Now, you just paid Dak Prescott $60 million. You just paid CeeDee Lamb $34 million, and you did not get a touchdown in this game.
Mr. Jerry, what you gonna do about that, Mr. Jerry?
Now Jerry all defensive, going off on radio hosts, telling him he can shut him down and trying to bully him and stuff and talking all this mad cash crap. Jerry, the radio show ain't the time for y'all to do that, bruh. Hold on, I just got a call. Oh, David Montgomery just ran for another touchdown. I'm sorry. Your time field, bruh. And again, just to drive it home, I was about to say the Steelers. The Lions ran for 184 yards on their ass.
Lovely.
Now, here's the other part. How many yards did the Cowboys run for? 53. 53. What? So that means that, and out of those 53, Dowdle had 25, Elliott had 17, Turpin had 6, Lamb had 2, Cooper Rush had, bless his heart, came in because Dak got benched. He ran for 2 and Dak ran for 1. So your running backs aren't even running. And then again, this is a team that cannot play from behind. So once they knew they were down damn 20-something to 6 at halftime, you're not going to be able to run the ball because now you're trying to catch up. Now you're putting more pressure on your $60 million quarterback, and he throws 2 interceptions. Could have been a whole bunch more. Some got batted down. I mean, he was on pace to throw about 4 or 5 picks that game. That looked really bad.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I don't see it looking any better for Dallas. No, I mean, they got 2 defensive players out, 2 of their big name defensive players out. Like you said, they can't run the ball. They've made no move in order to get any kind of running back. Before the season started, there was a lot of question and rumors out there. Are the Cowboys going to go after Derrick Henry? They didn't even try. They didn't even try.
And he works out in Texas.
That was the craziest thing in the world to me.
And sat down and talked to him. He said they didn't even call me.
Yeah, which is just crazy to me. Dallas also is a team without a number 2 receiver. So everybody was just now keying on number 88.
Yeah.
Lamb.
Yeah.
So they got some big time problems going ahead. God bless.
And that defense is just as soft as it can be. You smack them in the mouth, they're not gonna do nothing. Brand, this just listen to this stuff. This is their next running backs they're gonna face. They gotta go to San Francisco. And even if it's not Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason and the other dude that came in for Mason last game have been running all over the place. Then after that, they got to go to the dirty and face Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. I know, right? Then they come home and they meet one Mr. Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts, who's running now, that he got Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown back. Then the Texans come to town, and Joe Mixon just went the hell off this last game. Then they got to play the Commanders. And even though Brian Robinson is the running back, they also got a mobile quarterback in one Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, it ain't looking too good for Dallas, man. It really ain't. And the Cowboy fans, they disappeared this week. I just have a feeling they're going to be gone for quite a little spell here.
Normally, this year has been different with Cowboy fans because normally after they win a game or two, they bump in their chest. We go into the chip, this our year and everything else. Even when they did win a game, they were some of the tamest people out there. And I was talking to one of my friends just the other day about it. And I said, it looks like y'all just kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. And he was like, bruh, after we saw how the Ravens just ran up and down the field on them, we knew that if they started facing more teams with decent running backs, it was going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah.
You ain't never lied.
It's the funniest thing in the world to me that, you know, Dallas wins on opening day and going away against Cleveland.
Yeah.
And they thought that was just such a good victory because at the time everybody thought that Cleveland was like this dynamic defense. Oh, look at all the points we just scored on the Cleveland Browns defense. Oh yeah, we 1-0. And now we look back at that game and look at the problems that Cleveland has and see that game won't mean a damn thing.
Not a damn thing. No, if you had to play, if this was one of these leagues where strength of schedule mattered, that would not be a good win anymore. What looked like a good win, week 6, it does not look like a good win at all. They just look like straight garbage. And all of those running backs I named, man, if you can scheme to get your running back a little bit of space, he is going to have a career day. I know that on any of them days when I'm doing my little parlay on FanDuel and DraftKings, which I racked up this weekend, I made over like $500.
Nice, brother, nice.
Make sure my wife ain't hear that. Yeah, boy. I racked up. And then I parlayed on the Yankees and hit again. Woo! What? Rodon came out throwing them strikes. I said, yeah, he'll get at least 5. He had about 9 of them.
Yep, it's a beautiful thing, North Carolina. Thank you. It took you forever to get on board, but we thanking you now, baby. We thanking you now.
Oh, thank you. Man, when you can sit there and get about $500 off about $15 worth of bets.
I'm telling you.
So, yeah, I will be betting on all of those running backs to score and some of them to score multiple times in games.
You have to. You have to because it's being proven that if Dallas gets punched in the mouth, they're not going to hit you back. They're not going to hit you back.
And San Fran is one of those teams that always punches them in the mouth and turns them into their little biatches. They always do. They are San Fran. It don't matter. I know they were a little depleted, but they got Debo back. They got Kittle still. They got
Jennings.
They got Jennings. They got Ayuk. They all right. And if Jordan Mason comes back and he can run like he been running,
they're just as physical as they was with McCaffrey. He may not be the home run threat that McCaffrey was to go, the whole 80 yards.
But if he's peeling 7-8 yards off every damn carry, what he's doing, he's making Dak Prescott stay on the sideline.
Yeah,
and if he finally does come back in, now he has to play catch-up football, putting the ball in harm's way. That's exactly.
He's also making these Cowboy linebackers think twice about even grabbing them.
Yep, absolutely. So, yeah, he's gonna have a hard time with that. I think the Cowboys are on a bye this week, which you could probably say they've been on a bye since week 1. Because everybody been running all up in there. So when they come back for week 8, that's gonna be when they play the 49ers Sunday Night Football on the 27th. So they have a bye, but their next game is against the 49ers. So they do have time to rest, get Michael Parsons back, get DeMarcus Lawrence back, and that kind of thing. I don't think that would have changed the outcome this past game. The Lions were just the way better team.
Absolutely. The Lions are like, I mean, it's them in San Francisco in the NFC.
Exactly. And now seeing how the Lions are playing, seeing how the Vikings are playing, seeing how the Packers are playing, and the Packers really played some good ball this past week against the Cardinals. Jordan Love is not to be effed with. He went 22 or 32, not a lot of completions, but kept the ball out of harm's way for the most part, 258 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 pick. But this game was well in control. By halftime, it was already 24-10. And Kyler Murray just basically got a lot of empty calories because he just had to start throwing the ball up in the air to give them even a punching chance of trying to win the game. But they still lost 34-13. So you got the Packers, you got the Vikings, and you got the Lions. And you got the Bears who Caleb Williams again
Can't
is
leave them out.
more comfortable. So you got a division all the way up and down that is really, really good. The Bears beat the Jaguars. Now, you can say, okay, they were in London. They beat them 35-16. Does that say more about the Bears, or does it say less about the Jaguars? And I think it's a little bit of both, Rand. The Jaguars
Yeah.
have a good team, but Caleb Williams was 23 of 29. He missed 6
Yep.
passes, 226, 4 touchdowns, and a pick.
Yep, the Jaguars are still an NFL team, so I'm going to give the dude credit.
Exactly.
He looked very good. Looked very good. Put up 35 points. Now you got the NFC North Division, where every team in the division has a winning record right now. So it's just going to be fascinating to see how that division actually turns out. How many playoff teams come up out of there?
Can you
And,
see teams coming out of the North?
What was that again?
Can you see 3 teams coming out of the North?
Yeah, I can. Yep. Yep,
Damn.
if they keep on playing like this, I definitely can. Because I could see definitely one team coming out of the East now. Maybe the Commanders and nobody else. We'll see what the Philadelphia Eagles do, and Dallas is not looking too great.
I agree.
One team out of the West, and that would leave one team coming out of the South.
Yeah, whoever wins, you get your division guys, and then do you have a wild card coming out of any of those divisions? Well, I see a wild card, whether it's Green Bay or Detroit, but or Minnesota. All 3 could be in the mix. Yeah, I see 3 teams potentially coming out of the North.
Absolutely.
As 2 wild cards.
Mm-hmm.
And then only one other wild card would be out there. And if Philly doesn't get their act together, then you're only going to have the division winner. So either Philly wins the division or Washington wins the division. And then, like you said, you get the team out of the West that wins the division. And then the South is probably going to come down to a division winner and maybe a potential wild card if they continue to play as close as they are. And I mean between Atlanta and Tampa Bay.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting, man. And, before we get on out of this Dallas game, I just had to say some words for Hutchinson for the Lions, because that's a major loss for them, man. That's the equivalent of TJ Watt going down for the Steelers. I mean, he was the heart and soul of that defense. So that just, I just feel really bad for him. Prayers out for his recovery. But yeah, that's a tough blow for Detroit, man.
Broken leg, and I don't want to say good news about a broken leg, you may be able to come back for the playoffs.
That's what they say. That's what they said. The bone did not break the skin, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
It didn't do any damage to the knee, which is another good thing. So they said it. They had surgery. The surgery went great. It's in the upper leg, which is a lot stronger than the fibula. So, yeah, he could come back very well for the playoffs, which would be tremendous.
If they maintain, then that they could still end up with their guy at the end, as long as they can make it to the end. So hopefully we don't see too much of a drop off you're going to definitely see a drop off, but hopefully it's not enough that will slow them down. I think their offense still has been doing some things. I think their defensive backs have also been doing some great things, being very opportunistic around the football. So hopefully that continues. Anthony says Jerry Jones said he won't be active in the trade market. I don't know what's wrong with him. I know what's wrong with him. He wants credit for whoever he brings to that team. He don't want to take somebody else's, in his mind, probably trash. Oh, well, they ain't want him, so now I can just go get him and turn him into something. No, sometimes it's just not a good fit anymore. Or sometimes the team that you get somebody from, they were on a road to nowhere, and they're offloading them because of salary cap and trying to rebuild and things like that. But Jerry looks at it as, I want to have credit. The guys that he gives the most to are the guys he drafts, whether it was Zeke, Dak, CD, Micah. You go through all of those guys, those are the guys. Like I said, him getting rid of Amari Cooper because he didn't want to pay him $20 million looks dumber and dumber every single day.
Yeah, and I think the Cowboys, it's crazy that I'm saying this about the Dallas Cowboys, but they've kind of financially strapped themselves, man. And maybe that is the reason why they're not so active in the trade market and in free agency. They just kind of sat on their hands and didn't do anything. They got so much money tied up in the Dak deal and the Lamb deal and the potential Parsons deal. Like
And,
they
and
ain't,
Diggs. And Diggs coming too.
yeah, and Diggs coming too. They ain't got a whole lot of free money out there no more, man. So
Mm-mm. But that's when going after steady veterans would have done well from a depth standpoint. Putting all this money in the Dak. Look, I wouldn't have paid that.
I
I'm,
wouldn't have paid Dak either. We're
I'm
both on board with that one. We were laughing at it when they did it.
there's just too many teams out there doing decent with quarterbacks not making that much money. And we keep seeing now that once you pay them, they start looking more and more like garbage. Trevor Lawrence hadn't even
Woo.
done much in Jacksonville. They went ahead and paid his ass, and now he look even worse.
Yeah, how's that deal looking right about now?
How does the Deshaun Watson deal look to you?
Mm,
You know,
mm.
so hopefully the quarterback market is going to start to burst just like the running back market did, where they stopped paying running backs all this money because they were like, hey, all we got to do is really spend the money on the offensive line and we can put a decent guy back there. Look at San Francisco. Hey, we got C-Mac and we love C-Mac for everything that he does, but they still been running the ball quite effectively.
Yeah,
Whether it's Jordan Mason or the Agundo, however you say his name, dude, that was in there this past week, they still run the ball. They still commit to running the ball. It's not like they say, hey, we lost our feature back. Now we're going to put more in the hands of the receivers. They keep running the ball,
yeah. You see
regardless
that.
of who's back there.
You see that more and more often in the league now. Even the New York Giants with Singletary going down out of nowhere, they got this high guy. He just comes in and just
Just
starts
coming
breaking
fourth
shot,
round pick rookie,
100-yard games, catching balls out the backfield. It's
act
just,
like he been out there, and he
yeah,
just got there. You got even Kansas City loses Pacheco for a couple of games. Kareem Hunt comes in, and he balled out this past week.
yeah,
Running the ball. It's like, and okay, you said, well, it's Kareem Hunt. Well, he's not the same Kareem Hunt that got drafted originally by the Chiefs. He's a little bit older in age and everything else. Not the same dude, but you get on a team that's committed to running the ball and making sure that you get a lot of the balls your way, then you start looking really, really good. So
yeah.
Kareem Hunt comes in and he looks good. So you don't have to pay these backs $25 million. Saquon
Exactly.
Barkley got a $15 million deal, and he's doing his thing for the Eagles. But then you see a guy like Tyler Algier, who was, of course, he was going against the Panthers, but Tyler Algier had a hell of a day. He had 18 carries for 105 yards. He ain't the guy that they drafted like Bijan Robinson.
And speaking of the Panthers, the Carolina Panthers, they ended up paying the guy from Philadelphia,
Yes, Miles Sanders,
Miles
$25
Sanders,
million contract, but then they
and
found out that Chuba Hubbard
is the man,
is the
the one
man.
that they drafted. So you never know at the running back position, man.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, you know what? Inflating these quarterback salaries does not always mean that you're going to have success, especially when that means that you're now not able to commit to paying other positions that you really do need. Jerry Jones, for the longest, had been called cheap, but Jerry is cheap when it concerns players he didn't draft. The cheapness of Jerry comes with a caveat. Yeah, he gonna pay Michael Irvin. He gonna pay Troy. He gonna pay Emmett. But he wouldn't go out and get these free agents. You had Derrick Henry sitting in your damn state, and you wouldn't even call him.
That is
Derrick,
wild to me.
you didn't call Derrick. You didn't call Saquon. You didn't call Joe Mixon. You didn't call Aaron Jones. What?
It's crazy to me, man.
You said, I think we can just go back and get Zeke, and we'll be all right. That's why I can't feel sorry for you. because you ain't even trying anymore. Tell me you just trying to market your billion-dollar franchise because it's the most valuable franchise in the NFL, regardless of the fact that you have not been to a championship game in 29 years. And
Going on 30 because it ain't happening this year neither.
it'll be 30, but you haven't had any success on the field, even though you are a valuable franchise. Tells me that you're better at selling the bullshit than anything else with it. So, congratulations to that. If I need a snake oil salesman, I'll definitely go to Arlington.
Hey, it is Texas.
Yeah, right? Oil is aplenty.
Yep.
We had some other good games too, Ram. We also had the 49ers beating up on the Seahawks a little bit. Looked like they got their stride back a little bit. We saw more of the Brock Purdy that we know. Geno Smith had to throw the ball 52 times, made 30 of them, threw for 300 yards, but had a touchdown and 2 picks. Isaac Garendo, 10 carries for 99 yards in place of Jordan Mason, who was dealing with, I believe, was dealing with an injury. And then Debo only had 3 catches, but it was for 102 yards.
Damn.
So he made them count.
He sure did.
So they beat them 36-24. They're now 3-3. The Seahawks are now 3-3. So that division is still up for grabs, even though it does seem now that the 49ers are starting to catch their stride back at the right time.
And they had to have that game, man. They would have been 0-3 in the division had they lost that game. Their backs were up against the wall. So kudos for them for coming out and just taking the bull by the horns, because they had to have that one. And
it was an away game. So they definitely
Yep.
They were definitely hostile territory. Man, one of the biggest games that was being advertised was going to be the Ravens against the Commanders, wanting to see what the young gun would be able to do against Lamar Jackson. And didn't disappoint. I mean, the Ravens did what I thought they would end up doing, being the more seasoned team. A lot of times when you have a young team, they have to figure out how to win those close games.
Yep.
Really what it comes down to. Not that they're not good. Detroit reminded me that of years before they finally started winning those games that they had previously lost because of luck of the draw or just at the end backfiring on them. The Commanders are showing me that they're going to be that up-and-coming team. They've got a really good quarterback. The only concern I have about Jaden Daniels is at some point the question is going to be, is he running the ball too much? Because he leads his team in rushing on a lot of these Sundays, more so than he isn't. And he did that this past week. He led the team in rushing, and he only had 22 yards.
Yeah, and we know that's not sustainable. If you look at what's going on in Indy right now with Nicholson, man, we know you run a certain amount of times in this league and you don't get down, you try to be physical, and you're going to end up on the sidelines holding a clipboard. So
Exactly.
hoping that doesn't happen with Daniels. But your point about kind of the younger team and the older team with that game, that's what I saw too. That game right there to me was one of those big brother versus little brother games.
Yeah.
Where big brother is just muscling little brother, and little brother ain't quite old enough to handle it, man. I mean, you can stay in it for a little bit, but when it gets down to the third, fourth quarter, big brother is just too strong for little brother.
And you know what? They're so close to each other that it's a perfect storm for them to be able to play each other like that, because most notably, you probably got people that live in Baltimore that are Commander fans. You probably got people that live in the DC, the DMV area that are Raven fans. So it's a whole big old melting pot, and they can go to those games because they're not that far away from each other and just have that kind of time like that. That's something good that if you've got Lamar on one side and Jaden Daniels for years to come, that'll be exciting to see.
Yeah. Yep.
And you'll see that game more so in prime time over the years if it starts to become that way.
Yeah. It seems like every time Washington tried to get themselves back in that game, they would just take Derrick Henry and salt away more clock. And as the game went on, it just getting tougher and tougher for them to bring down Mr. Henry. So
And that's really what it came down to. To your point, what does Derrick Henry do? He runs the ball. He keeps the clock moving. Helps control the time of possession. They were 13 minutes up in Baltimore for time of possession, 36 minutes versus 23. A lot of that is ground control, keeping the sticks moving. They had 176 rushing yards to Washington's 52. That you can't keep up like that because they can take the air out of the ball by just running it, keeping it out of harm's way. That's exactly what they did. They just that. Now, what I will say is that defense kept Baltimore from going crazy, scoring a bunch of points. They did score 30 points in the game, but when it came down to the fourth quarter, they could only score 3.
Yeah. Yep. It wasn't like Baltimore running all over Dallas like they did. That game was a lot closer than what the score even indicated. I was impressed what the Washington Commanders did, and especially Daniels going up against a tough Raven defense like that. I was impressed.
Me too. And it never really seemed like the moment got too big for him. And that's really something to be able to see out of these young quarterbacks. When you talk about a Bryce Young, and people always say, man, he just looked scared back there. You didn't get that from Jaden Daniels. You're not getting it from Caleb Williams. We didn't get to see that Stroud last year. It looked like they were very comfortable back there, even though they were rookies.
Yeah. Yep. The moment's not too big for them. Even primetime situations, the moment's not too big for them.
So those are the things that you look for, because when the QB is under poise, that helps with the rest of the team. Robbie Jenkins, what's up, guys? What's up, Robbie?
Robbie, what's up, brother?
So those are things that really help the rest of the team when they know that the guy when I'm in the huddle and he's looking at me calling out the plays, I believe this guy's going to be able to get us the ball where we need to get it. Even if he is a rookie, even if he just came into the league and all of that, this guy looks like the moment's not too big for him. So always a good thing. Just checking in on lunch break. Well, we appreciate it, Robbie. Thank you for us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Definitely
gotta make that money, my man. Make that money.
Ain't that the truth? Now, I ran another game that did happen in Philadelphia. Was the Eagles playing the Doo-Doos, and I was very I wasn't impressed by the Eagles. Yes, they came out with a win, but you only beat the Browns by 4 points. And honestly, if not for the Browns shooting them own selves in the foot, they could have won that game.
Yeah. I think the Browns had no third down conversions in that game. If I saw that stat, that is like crazy.
No, they were 3 for 12, but they were bad.
Okay.
Eagles weren't much better. They were only 5 of 14.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And
it was an ugly game.
Time of possession.
Yeah, this is a pretty ugly game. Did the Eagles have their full set of wide receivers back? Brown and
yes, sir.
Wow, they only put up 20.
They had Devontae and they had AJ.
Wow, I don't know what's going on in Philly, man, but I could say for certain what's going on in Cleveland. That they got a quarterback problem, and I don't know how they're gonna get out of that quarterback problem. They're going to have to keep on playing this guy, evidently, because of his salary. They can't trade him. They're stuck.
But now look. So the guy that had the most catches for the Cleveland Browns is no longer a Cleveland Brown. That was Amari Cooper, four catches for 42 yards. Now you've got guys like Pierre Strong, Jerry Jeudy, Njoku, who's the tight end. These are going to be Elijah Moore. These are going to be your receivers for a quarterbback that can't get the ball to receivers.
Yeah, one of the most struggling quarterbacks in the league just lost his number one wide receiver.
Woo! Hey, doo-doo for real. You're gonna see some straight up Dookie Bowls coming real soon.
Oh my God.
Where he's gonna be like 8 for 13 for like 87 yards and 2 picks.
Man,
Trust that stat, y'all. Bet the under 125 yards on Deshaun Watson. I guarantee you make a lot of money on that.
From
If
here on out through the rest of the season.
if the odds makers are giving it to you, because they may go
Mhm.
125 from Deshaun. Shit. I'm not giving y'all no odds on that. I don't believe he'll throw for that either.
Yeah.
That's gonna be terrible. That's gonna now talking about unwatchable football. Oh God. Yeah. That's I feel bad for Myles Garrett because you on a train going nowhere, man.
Yeah,
They
you really are. You wasting your life, brother.
on them that you are not gonna get anything out of that franchise. Um,
Yeah.
November the 5th should be a day that you are looking and silently telling your agent to go talk to them and say, hey, if y'all really appreciate what I've done for this franchise, free me.
Yeah,
We go
because
somewhere
you
where
are
I can go for the stretch run like I don't know, Buffalo,
mhm,
Kansas City, and go
because
there.
you are an old vet on a team that is about to hit the reset button and start all over.
You know, I could even see the 49ers trying to get it.
Oh yeah, that would be hell on wheels if they were able to do that. Yeah, yeah.
What? I know one team that won't, and that'll be the one Dallas Cowboys. Because Jerry will say, did we ever draft him? Oh, well, hell no.
The thing is with Cleveland, in their quarterback situation, they're going to have to get real inventive and do some things like that in order just to get out of that deal. Like,
Yeah.
we'll trade you a Myles Garrett as long as you take Deshaun along with him. They're going to have to do some things like that. And we'll even eat half of the salary or even more of the salary. Just
Right,
take him off our hands
right.
and we'll give you our
Don't want the
star
full,
player.
don't want the full hit from the dead money.
Yeah.
Take
They're
some
gonna
of it.
have to do something like that to get out of that deal, man, because otherwise they're just stuck with this kid, and he ain't playing well enough to increase any trade value
No,
whatsoever. The
I mean,
league has no interest in Deshaun Watson. Let's just
right
take
now,
that off point right now.
Russell Wilson has a higher trade value than
Yes,
Deshaun Watson, and Russell Wilson ain't played all season.
exactly. The league has no interest in Deshaun Watson right now, none. So
Mm-mm.
Cleveland's just basically stuck right now. They're going to have to be real
Oh,
inventive on how to get rid of this dude and hit
and,
the reset
and,
button.
and there is no good film coming around the horizon because you
No,
just got rid of his number one target.
no. And you don't want to go forward with this dude. You don't. I mean, you're saying publicly that, it's not a problem. He's our number one. And he gives us the best chance to win, quote unquote. But everybody can see through that smoke screen.
He gives you
That's a
your
lie.
if he gives you your best chance to win, you have no chance of winning.
I'm telling you. So yeah,
that's
they're in a
that's an indictment. That's like that's like saying that well, yeah, I ain't gonna draw that analogy. That's Robbie says to go along with your comment about the rookie quarterbacks, they are all looking better than anticipated. I may possibly recant my bust comment on Caleb Williams, but time will tell when they get ready to play division of games. Well, I agree with you, Robbie, but I think Caleb has done enough to show us that he really just had to get his feet wet and get settled. There's a
that's what it
difference
looks like.
there's a difference between kind of coming in from that standpoint versus just stinking up the joint week in and week out. He's already shown that he can travel overseas, prepare for a game, not even in unfamiliar environment like an opponent's area, but to go overseas and do it and go 23 or 29 to be that under poised like that. That says a lot. I mean, it's moments like that that really tell me. Now, does it show me that he's a true number one pick? No. But does it show me that he's a serviceable quarterback already? Absolutely, it does.
And he's got the moxie to lead a team. I mean, he's the leader of that daggone offense. I mean, there's no question about that already.
Yeah.
Not talking about the Bryce Young situation, which is the exact opposite. The offense does not believe in him, and you saw that, at the start of the year. So,
Yeah. What did you think about the Carolina Panthers game that they just had? People sat there and said, well, Andy Dalton gave him that huge emotional win. And after that, It's kind of come back down to earth. The only thing that I'll say, Rand, before you jump in is, yeah, but at least now when I see the Panthers play, it's competitive. It's
Yeah,
watchable.
it's
It's
watchable.
I can see where the running game is now being more successful because of the ability to pass the ball. Where
Exactly.
before, because they knew the quarterback wasn't worth a damn, they could stack 8, 9 in the box and dare you to try to run. And
Yeah.
most runs would go for negative plays. Now I see a guy like Chuba Hubbard still tearing off 6, 7, 8 yards on a first down, on a second down, and things like that. So even though I don't expect them to win a lot of games, I expect to be able to watch it till the end.
Exactly. I mean, they're a threat now. Before with Bryce Young, they were not threatening anybody, man.
Anybody.
And as soon as the score was 10-0, the game was over. It was over.
Right.
So,
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. This game was only 22-17 at halftime.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're playing competitive ball. Unfortunately, Dalton does not play defense, and that's the Panthers' struggle right now. They can't stop anybody. They
Especially
can't stop
run.
anybody.
Their run defense is horrific.
It's horrendous right now.
Yeah,
And,
you go up and down on them.
they have 5 or 7 starting defenders out right now too. And they were not a good unit even with those starters in there. So now it's just gone from bad to very bad. They have absolutely no pass rush whatsoever. Clowney didn't play this past game. They had I don't even know who's on the other side opposite of him, but nobody got to the quarterback.
Nope.
I don't think the Panthers have 5 sacks all year long. It's just a really, really bad defense right now. It's a shame because they've done all these things to kind of fix the offense, but now the defense has all these holes.
J.C. Horn is one of the brightest spots. He is looking pretty good out there. He had a couple opportunities to pick the ball off, but hey, you know they say about defensive backs, if they had good hands, they'd be receivers.
Mm-hmm.
and he proved that a couple of times because I'm like, bro, it was right in your hands. What are you doing?
I'm telling you.
Oh, but like I said, it's watchable, and for that, I can deal with that right now.
Yeah.
See an improvement with that. Robbie says, speaking of the Panthers, my question is: without things have gone without the way things have gone the past few games on the defensive standpoint, we seem to be having trouble stopping people. Do you feel like it might be time to make a defensive change amongst the coaches? Well, Ray, I think that to what you said, it would be hard to put it all on Evero if he doesn't have his people in to be able to carry out his scheme. I even see the Panthers running more 4-3, and I was under the impression when Evero came over, it was to change to a 3-4. But I see more base 4-3 defense than I ever see any 3-4. I don't think I've seen them line up in any 3-4, to be honest.
Yeah. You know, I can't put anything on Evero right now. I mean, what is this guy really supposed to do? You know, he's got a bunch of preseason players and some players who have, I'm not even joking with this, have been elevated from a practice squad and now are on the active 53. I mean, come on, man. I mean, what's this got to do? I mean, he's lost, like I said, 5 starters of the 7 front starters. I mean, you have no Brown in there in the middle. Shaq Thompson is gone, lost for the year.
Again,
Josie Jewell, the starting middle linebacker, he's out. It just goes on and on. Clowney out. Wanham, which they got from Minnesota, who's supposed to be their pass rush specialist, he ain't played all year. So I mean, you can't really put that on Evero.
Right. I mean, he dealing with what he got. He's trying to make lemonade out of some real bad lemons.
I'm telling you,
and it ain't sugar, water, and lime, as the singer likes to sing, which you can't make lemonade out of sugar water.
You can't be mad at a 2-month-old baby because he ain't walking.
Right. He ain't supposed to. You can hold him up a little bit and make him feel like he walking. You know how you make them? They be smiling. I'm really walking, but it's like, No, little mother effer, if I let your hands go right now, you go hit the floor.
You can only do what you can do, man.
And that's all you can do. So yeah, I think that's going to be really, really hard. But we got to get up out of here. But any games that you're looking forward to this coming week?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. It's lights on in Pittsburgh this Sunday night, prime time. I want to see what my Steelers could do. I want to see which quarterback goes trotting out there, and I want to see these two wide receivers, especially Adams, get hit in his mouth.
We got a rookie bowl going on in New Orleans. The Broncos will be playing the Saints. I believe Derek Carr's been ruled out for this game as well. So then you're going to have Rattler again in his second start playing against Bo Nix. So that'll be interesting to see how that game goes. I would think that you will see the Saints offense move a little bit more. But at times, Bo Nix has been able to move that Denver offense as well. You've got a Dookie Bowl coming up in Jacksonville. The Patriots playing the Jaguars. And I believe that Drake may get his first win of the season against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I think it's funny how they just left Jacksonville over in London for another day.
Stay your ass. We sending somebody. Just stay right where you are. Besides, that way, at least we know that Doug Peterson will keep his job for at least one more week.
Yeah.
If you bring him back too early, the owner may say, "Get out of here. Go find Robert Saleh." So at least he got one more week. You got the Lions and the Vikings. Going to be a great NFC North showdown. It's a shame that it's just a 1 p.m. game. That game could have been stretched to a 4 p.m. or even the 8 o'clock game. I think that would be a great game. Who would have thought to say that watching Jared Goff and Sam Darnold at quarterbacks would be a hell of a game?
I'm telling you, start of the season, you would have never said that.
Oh, the poor Titans have to go to Buffalo to face the Bills. Enough said. The Dolphins have to play the Colts. I think the Colts got one in them. Joe Flacco is probably going to quarterback again. The Seahawks play the Falcons. This will be really, really interesting to see if the Falcons will be able to run on the Seahawks. It'll be real interesting to see if they can put any pressure on Geno Smith and get him rattled at all. Man, we got another good young gun game too, Rand. We got the Texans going to Green Bay to face the Packers. CJ Stroud and Jordan Love. That's going to be a great game right there.
Yep.
You got Cincinnati going over to Cleveland, in-state game, playing the Doo-Doos. I expect Joe Burrow to get about 5 touchdown passes. I expect Jamar Chase to catch 2 or 3 of them, and T. Higgins to catch 1, and Joe Burrow to probably run for 1. That's going to be interesting. We got
about 35-10 to me.
Yeah, I can smell. 10. I don't know. Maybe all field goals. I'm going to say 9. I don't think they will get in the end zone. The Eagles and the Giants play each other in the NFC East matchup. It's going to be in New York at MetLife. So that's going to be an interesting game. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be closer than it should be. I'm going to call the upset right now. Giants win this game. Malik Neighbors. Wow. Yes, Giants will win this game.
Over your boys?
Over my boys.
Wow, man.
You can only imagine how painful. Guys, this tells you how objective I try to be. Even though I grew up a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I ain't calling for them to win. I hate the Big Blue. Big Blue, I got more faith in them, even though I think Saquon is going to have a decent game running the ball. I think Jalen is going to throw the game away.
Wow. I hope you're wrong. I'm pulling for Philly on that one.
Me too. I mean, the fan side of me wants them to win every game, but I don't see it. The way they've been playing, it's leading to this. Unless they prove to me that the Browns game was a trap game for them because they were already looking ahead to the Giants game. But Daniel Jones has looked a whole lot better than he has been because Dable has him playing more under poise and getting the ball out to his skilled position players. And Brian Burns has really been doing a lot of wonders for that defense.
Yeah.
More than they probably thought he would. Raiders play the Rams. It's in LA. I think just the Raiders are a burning Titanic. I think the Rams will get them in this game. Cooper Kupp is going to do his thing. Puka Nacua is still about a month out, but I think they're going to still be able to. And I think Kyron Smith is going to have a lot of times running into the end zone, at least 2 of them. I'm betting on that parlay. Just letting you know. Panthers at the Commanders. Jaden is going to look like John Elway. The game, the 4:25 game, which could be the Monday night game, the Chiefs at the 49ers. Oh my God.
I will be in my man room watching that one.
Woo. That's I can't even call that one, bro. That's gonna be a hell of a now. You know what I'm gonna call it. It's in San Francisco. Chiefs take a loss. Jets and the Steelers. I hate to say it. I think the Jets gonna win this game.
I think they got me, man. I think they got us, bro. I think they got us.
I think Devontae is gonna cause people to shit themselves.
I am as objective as you are about your Eagles. I just got to call it like I see it, man. I don't think we can run with them. I think we can run with them.
Because I think if they get ahead really early, there ain't no coming back from it. It's just not. If it gets out of hand too quick. Ravens at the Buccaneers. That's going to be an interesting game. Baker Mayfield has been doing very, very well, but I kind of like the Ravens in this game to come down to Tampa Bay and take control of it, especially there's no answer for Derrick Henry. And if they take the air out of the ball, that lessens the amount of times that Baker can get it to Chris Godwin and one Mike Evans.
Agree with you on that one, too.
And then you got, lastly, the Chargers and this is Monday Night Football, Chargers at the Cardinals. NFL, you should be ashamed of yourself.
That game should be stripped from you and put on a Tuesday.
Right. You should be ashamed. You need to put West Charlotte against Independence up on that screen that day. My God. Robbie said San Fran at KC, Drake May for 3 touchdowns, LOL. You laughing, but it might happen. As the game went on, the New England game, he looked better and better and better. So it could happen.
I like Drake, man.
I love Drake. Robbie says Dallas Cowboys have a bye week. Oh, like I said, they've had a bye week since week 1. They will probably lose on that, or Dak possibly throw another interception. You mean on their bye week? You damn right. If any team can throw interceptions and lose on their bye week, right now I would say it is the Dallas Cowboys.
Once again, agree with you on that one too, bro.
All right, y'all. Well, we about to move up out of here. We appreciate y'all for tuning in for another week. Thanks to my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. Hey, as one quick programming note, y'all check out his band, Kendrick Colt. Go to Instagram and find out when they will be performing next in the Charlotte area. Check them out. They are phenomenal. All right.
Appreciate that, brother.
Absolutely. Anytime. We're going to get up out of here. Y'all have a great. I'm sorry. I got one quick comment. Robbie says, oh, peace, bros. Thank you, Robbie. We will see y'all again. I'm trying to find my damn outro. There we go. We will see y'all again next week, and we'll see if the Cowboys can indeed lose on their off week. Y'all take it easy. We'll see y'all again soon.